Hello and welcome to this edition of Pop and Scott Talk Baseball. Coming to you a little bit later this weekend. This week on a Monday, was out of town over the weekend, and just life can't always bring it to you at 8 o'clock Monday morning. But we will get this out here. Some thoughts on this part of the season. Week after the All-Star game, it's always nice to see who can get the motor revving again, and start it back up. So, how you doing, Dad?
I'm doing great. I mean, it's been a wild week in baseball. It's had started with the draft last week. I watched the draft last Sunday night, and
Which
not all of it, but I
the
watched.
left-hander from LSU didn't go first either.
Well, yeah, I'll get into that, and there's a perfectly good explanation for that. Speaking of the draft, Washington threw everybody a curveball by taking Eli Willits, a 17-year-old shortstop out of Oklahoma, who had already committed to the University of Oklahoma. In the NFL draft, I get a kick out of looking at some of the predictions, the draft, predicting drafts and all that. So there was one draft I saw in baseball, and it had them taking Willits. And that was a few months ago. And I said, well, really? Well, anyway, they claim he was the one they wanted all along. And it's probably true. But now, the shortstop, the pitcher from LSU, and the little brother, the shortstop, and the reason that there was two reasons why Washington took Willits. One was pool money. Every team gets pool money, and they use the pool money. In other words, if a player is ranked sixth and you pick him first, you don't have to give him as much money as if you take the kid that's ranked first and you take him first. So
the pool money was for foreign players, but I couldn't.
The pool money is for the whole draft, and you have to gauge how much you like the Orioles.
I saw where they were when I was looking at because the bonus is already pre-slotted, unless you want to give them more, I guess. But the bonus was already slotted, and their pay is already slotted. And it just depended on where, for their first contract, their first 4-year contract.
Well, that was just part of it.
Right.
The real reason they didn't select the kid from LSU or the superstar was because of their agent. They didn't want to deal with Boris.
Oh, Boris he's dead.
He is the agent for the other two guys.
Right.
So Willits, that's not his agent. So they took the kid that didn't have Boris as the agent. That was the other reason they took Willits.
So was the other Holiday kid got Boris as his agent?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I can't tell you that. All I know is that the kid,
because Boris lost all credibility the last couple of years. So
Soto got big money. So
yeah, but Soto could have got that with me as his agent.
Yeah, of course.
But he lost out on the other guys.
And then the Orioles, they were talking about what the great draft of the Orioles and blah, blah, this and that. Adley Rutschman is one of the better catchers in baseball. Now, he's hurt, but he should be back shortly. They drafted the first two the people they picked were catchers. Now, they play other positions, but they're catchers. So there's speculation that they may trade Adley Rutschman, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, but they've also talked about moving him to first
base. Well, he's going to be a free agent after 2027, so they've got
to prepare for that too.
Yeah. So anyway, they drafted Ike Irish of Auburn, and he also plays the outfield, and Cade Bodine, who also can play the outfield and some infield. The Cade Bodine catcher was the kid from East Carolina, Coastal Carolina, the best college catcher. So they took him. Let's see, what else have I got? Oh yeah. The Minnesota Twins are for sale. Um, so far, they haven't had any bids, but they're for sale. Um, the gentleman from Jacksonville is buying the Tampa Rays, and he's going to keep them in Tampa. That's the word, anyway. Jim Clancy, 69, who played 15 years in the major leagues. He was on the 1982 All-Star team. He played most of those years with the Jays. He passed away this week. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Had 2 perfect games in the minor leagues, both by the same team, Greensboro, right down there where you work. Greensboro, they beat the
Grasshoppers.
the Aberdeen Ironbirds, and then they beat the Bowling Green Hot Rods, which are the Rays farm team, and the O's have the Aberdeen. So they had 2 perfect games this summer.
Yeah, it's the high A team there for Pirates.
And there's only been in Major League. This is hard to believe, but there's only been 24 perfect games in the history of Major League Baseball. A bunch of no hitters, but only 24 perfect games. And of course, one in the World Series, and that was the 6th game of the 1956 World Series, the Don Larson. I was a Brooklyn Dodger fan at the time, and I got home just in time to see the last 2 innings and sat down in the living room and cried. Now, let's see. What else have I got? The guy that is buying, he bought the Rays for $1.7 billion is Patrick Zalupski. He's the new owner, and he's going to keep him in the Tampa area.
Man, that's like a quadruple point word in if we were playing Scrabble.
Yeah, it's from the old Pogo comic strip. Now I didn't stay up and watch the whole All-Star game because it went into extra inning, and they wound up having a homer off. And Schwarber hit 3 of them, and he got the most valuable player. And Cal Raleigh won the home run derby on Monday night. I did watch some of that. It was kind of funny because they were oohing and eyeing over some of these home runs. The guys were hitting 400 and some feet and all that. Raleigh only hit a couple of real deep balls. He was not swinging for trying to kill it. He was just trying to make contact and get the ball over the fence.
Well, and not only what was really nice with him was he had his dad pitch it to him and his son was catching.
Yeah, that was cool.
I didn't know if you know that, but it was.
Yeah, his brother was catching.
Oh, yeah, his brother was catching. That's right.
Yeah, Raleigh's brother was catching, and the dad was pitching to him.
Yeah.
And they said that during one of the sessions, the catcher, the kid brother hollered out at Dad, "Throw a strike."
I was so when they were talking to him, they were doing a vignette on him at the All-Star game that week. The ball, just when he hits it, it sounds like concrete. They always talked about the players having a special, who the big hitters are because the ball just sounds different coming off their bat.
Right.
And my guy, it sounded like a cannon going off when he hits it. It's just, he's so strong. And that's all he's got to do is just make contact and get over the sweet spot.
He's built like a large fire plug.
Yeah.
He's a big guy.
And he is just, he's special. And what's so nice is, I don't think he was not highly talented player coming up. So he kind of came on the scene quietly and came out of nowhere. And that's what I love about this.
Well, a lot of the better catchers have been drafted in the later rounds or signed as free agents.
Right.
I mean, Schwarber hitting the 3 home runs counted as in the one game. And the only other time a player hit 3 home runs was Johnny Callison in the 1964 All-Star game. I believe he played for the Phillies.
Yes. So somebody asked me this weekend, and just a random person, we were talking about baseball, getting breakfast, and he asked me what I thought about the home run contest. I was like, I'm fine with it. It's a video game anyway. It's an all-star game. It means nothing. You can't have pitchers out there.
If you try to play the extra innings, you take a chance on injuries.
Right.
On using pitchers longer than you really should.
A lot of the players already left that you've already taken out the game. It's just it's a spectacle. It is the best all-star game because
by far.
Yeah, because it's just the way it's done. It's no compact. They
play a real game and they actually play defense and things like that.
Yeah, I guess the pitchers don't throw 100% anymore. They want to get it over with just as much as any, but it's just done in a better way. We know for a fact, like Cal Ripken's last at bat at the All-Star game, they gave him a gopher pitch, and
he threw a batting practice fastball.
Derek Jeter, same thing. So it's the all. It is what it is. It's supposed to be what it is, and baseball does a very good job.
One thing I kind of enjoyed was the pregame. In the pregame when Freddie, they were in Atlanta, and when Freddie Freeman was introduced, as a Dodger, and he got a huge ovation. I mean, it was.
Well, I don't know if this is true or not, but somebody told me last night because one of the neat things they were doing, they were showing things at the All-Star Fest there, and this young girl that was like 12 years old was throwing 68 miles an hour cold with perfect form. And I guess she threw the open pitch Friday night.
Yeah.
Come out. In Atlanta.
Yeah,
that's where baseball is. They're not the greatest at marketing, but they're good at marketing. They've done better.
Good. She threw out the first pitch, and
she had perfect. I saw her when they showed her at the All-Star Fest when they saw this young woman throwing heat off of the mound. Just walks up. 68 is nothing to for a 12-year-old boy. 68 is bringing it. That's the 90-something mile an hour fastball.
Exactly. You see that in the Little League World Series,
right? That's hard to hit. And congratulations to that young person. That's awesome.
We did have a minor trade also. Kansas City got infielder Adam Frazier from Pittsburgh, and they sent AAA shortstop Cam Devaney to the Pirates.
That's a typical Pirates trade.
This was pretty cool. Nathan Eovaldi was one of the pitchers that was overlooked for the All-Star team, but Texas gave him a $100,000 bonus anyway because they said they thought he deserved it. So
follow me here. If I'm a player and I want some extra stuff in my contract, I don't know if I would put making the All-Star team as one. I would want certain numbers to be one because the All-Star game is so arbitrary. Like, you don't know who's going to go in it. You could be first off, if anything that the fans have to do with it shouldn't be at risk of your making money. And two, he's got the numbers to get the 100,000. So congratulations to that team for doing the right thing.
Right.
That's good.
Well,
if you don't want your pitcher to go, some of these teams ask their pitchers not to go. And how are you going to take money from them if you're not going to let them go? So,
well, Kyle Gibson, pitcher for the Orioles, has decided to retire after 13 years. He just can't deal with the injuries anymore.
I think that's Paul Gibson's son that pitched for the Tigers.
It might be. I don't know. And let's see. Trevor Cahill, 36 years old from the A's. He retired also after 13 years.
Yeah, he's been around a while. He's played with the A's a couple of times.
Yeah.
And he's with the Reds. He's been around for a while. He's one of those guys. That's one of those things like he was never great, but he was in the league for 13 years. He was good enough. I mean, that has something to say. When you could play more than 10 years in any professional league, you're better than average. So we just need to
this is odd. ESPN opted out of that Sunday night contract early. They had it for they opted out.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? Now they're bidding for it again.
MLB said they'll never give it to them again, no matter what.
Well, ESPN, NBC, and Apple are bidding for the Sunday night game. So if Apple gets it, then I'll never watch it. I'll never see it because it'll be streamed. Oh, and here's another thing I heard this week on MLB. I forgot what streaming service. One of them, Netflix or something. They're looking into getting the World Series and streaming and taking it off of regular television, which I don't know if baseball will want to do that or not because there's too many fans.
I don't know if the SEC will allow them to do that.
Well, not only that too, but I don't care how much money baseball would make out of this. You're just automatically turning off fans.
Well, I can tell you this: if it's Netflix, they paid WWE so much money that WWE is losing money at the door, but don't care. WWE's not making the money they did 5 years ago, but they don't care because how much they got from Netflix, it doesn't matter.
I remember 20 years ago when the pay-per-view stuff, boxing and all that took off. And the NFL owners had a meeting and they said we could go pay-per-view every Sunday, take it off regular television, lose half our fans, and still make money off the pay-per-view.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of money in that. And now this is my little rant for this week. It's gotten to the point where it's very difficult for me to watch the Nationals. Just very difficult. They play like some of the little league teams that I coached, and I would hope that my teams play better than these guys. They can't hit. They cannot get a clutch hit. They can't score. The pitching is outside of Gore, who got slaughtered yesterday by San Diego. He lasted less than 2 innings. His is the only earned run average under 4. The bullpen is adequate, and the closer is on again, off again, Finnegan. He saved the game. What was it, Saturday, but got blasted Friday night. The thing, they won the World Series in 2019. For 6 years, they're rebuilding. But the record's the same. Oh, we got this great young core. Yes, you do. But they can't hit. The left fielder is a decent hitter, but he can't field. He made a great catch the other night diving, but the night before, he let the ball go over his head. He should have made the catch. I mean, they have a publicly funded stadium. It's the 15th largest market in the United States. No, 7th largest market in the United States. 7th largest market. That's Washington, Maryland, Northern.
Yeah, that's the second biggest populated area in the country.
Learner, you're either in or you're out. You either have to throw all your chips on the table and start putting a team together here, or you got to sell it. And don't tell me, oh, well, the guy that wanted to buy it didn't buy it because he couldn't move the team to Monumental Network because Masson's got everything tied up. He's not the only person that wanted to buy the team. There are other people out there that will buy the team, and you can make one heck of a killing. So, I mean, the family is local. So it'd be nice for them to have the team, but they're not. If you got this young nucleus and you're talking about how great they are, it's the same record they had 3 years ago, almost identical. So you're either in or you're out. So I'm tired of it. It's either sell them. It's almost where I can't hardly watch them, and the Orioles aren't much better. I mean, trying to watch the Orioles. Anyway, yeah, this is their 6th year in a row. They're sub 440. So average for wins and losses. The Cubs. Now this is bad news for the Cubs. Justin Steele is not going to be back. He's going to be out for the year with his elbow. Detroit lost Kerry Carpenter to a hamstring problem. One of their better hitters, and Detroit's like 4-6 in their last 10 games. They lost 5 or 6 in a row. Trevor Williams, one of the starting pitchers for Washington, thought he was going to have Tommy John, but he had that gizmo procedure where they put the thing in his elbow, so he didn't have to have Tommy John. But he won't be back till next year. The Mets lost relief pitcher Max Krennick. He's going to have Tommy John.
Yeah, he's a rookie. He was doing really, really, really well. Well, he was. It looked like he was going to be their future. Well, he still might be future setup, maybe even closer.
Yeah.
So hopefully he comes back. He's good. He's a young guy.
Freddie Freeman left the game the other night. He got hit on the wrist with a pitch ball. Let me see. Oh,
I have some news I want to talk about. If you don't talk about it, I can't believe you haven't talked about it.
Well, I'm almost.
You're crushing me here. Okay.
Arizona, Ketel Marte, while he was at the All-Star game, his home got burgled, and they took a whole bunch of stuff. Last night, or night before, it was last night, yesterday. Aaron Judge homered, and he tied A-Rod for 6th on the Yankee list. So he's moving up the Yankee list. All right, let's. You want to talk about your thing first? You want to do the standings and the wild card stuff?
Yeah, because I can't believe not my favorite player, but he's right up there, probably top 3 or 4. Got his number retired, and he's in the Mets Hall of Fame, and that's David Wright.
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah, I watched that.
So, not everybody can be in the Hall of Fame. He probably needed another 4 or 5 years to get his numbers right. But he had spinalosis that got diagnosed at that USA whatever baseball classic, and he tried to play. It just didn't work. One of the greats for the Mets in baseball.
He had numbers that are a lot like a lot of the people in the Hall of Fame.
He just didn't have enough.
It was just the length of his. The Andrew Jones syndrome. Andrew Jones, they say the reason he's in the Hall of Fame, not in the Hall of Fame, is because he's only played 10 years. He had 10 good years. That wasn't long enough, they said. So
that's if he needed to pile more numbers up. He didn't have the home runs, RBIs, or hits. So not everybody. He can get in with the Harold Baines vote later, but he's not going to get it. He's still on the ballot. He's made the 3rd year. He's going into the 3rd year. I just rooting for him, but it's not going to happen. But I was happy they did make a hat for him. That's why I'm wearing my old Mets hat for when he played for him, with the number 5 on the side the other night, and they haven't started selling it yet. So I've been looking because those hats go fast when they go out for sale. So I was really happy. I was out of town. My friends were hitting me up. I did not know about it. I thought I read something about it beginning of the year. They put out what they're going to do over the year. And if I forgot, I probably just forgot about it. But, one of the Mets greats. But I would say, I don't know if he's top 5, but he's really close of players. You got Carter, Piazza, Seaver.
Darryl Strawberry. Dwight Gooden.
Yeah, but see, I'm telling you, they won't with the team long enough to really say the same as, and they didn't win a World Series like Seaver did. So, but anyway, well, yeah, I guess I'm wrong. They did 86. I'm talking out of my wrong.
They beat the Boston Red Sox when the ball went through.
The thing with Doc and Darryl is while they also played a little too much on the nightlife. So, I was so happy for him and he's a Virginia guy. So very, very happy.
Yeah, he's from Tidewater.
Yep. So very happy for him. So
Didn't he play on the same American Legion team with the Uptons and
travel ball, Upton's, McReynolds, not McReynolds, Reynolds. Who else was on that team? It was them, and it was one other guy. I can't remember. He was he signed with the he was supposed to play shortstop with UVA. He got drafted because he was supposed to play shortstop with Zimmerman playing third. That was supposed to be the infield for UVA, and he decided to take the draft pick. So, but yeah, that AAU team was a hell of a team coming out of. The Upton's dad coached it, and gosh, who was the other? It was them two, Reynolds, who played forever in the league, and then
I remember I heard they were interviewing the Uptons, and they were talking about how their dad got their hand-eye coordination was bad.
Bottle caps.
He threw bottle caps, and they had to have a broomstick, and they had to hit the bottle cap with a broomstick.
Yep.
He flipped the bottle cap at him.
Yep. He spun them at him, so it came in flat, and they had to hit it. Yep. So, yeah, that's very happy. Just want to throw that out there. My Mets not having a good weekend, but that was good.
All right. The standings. Toronto's over leads the Yankees by 3 games, and they play a 3-game set beginning tonight, I believe. Yankees and Toronto. Detroit, who's been having a hard time lately, they lost 5 in a row, 6 out of 10. They are still leading Cleveland by 11, and Cleveland's gone 10-2 in their last 12 games. So Cleveland's starting to roll. Houston was having some problems. They lost a few games, and Seattle's gained some ground on them. They're up to 4. They're just 4 games out now. And I think the Rangers like 5.5. The Rangers, I watch them, and they'll play. They'll come on ML. They'll be on MLB, and they'll score 4 or 5 runs. And the next game, they can't score at all. It's amazing just why the same guys who were in the World Series a few years ago just all of a sudden stopped hitting. They're not the only ones that stopped hitting. We'll talk about that in just a minute. In the National League, the Phillies lead the Mets by a half game. And it might be pointed out, even though the Mets lost 2 of 3 to Cincinnati, the Phillies lost 2 of 3 to the Angels. The Cubs and Milwaukee are tied. Milwaukee is on a 10-game winning streak, and they are hotter than a firecracker.
Say that before the All-Star break. I was like, I've been talking about them all preseason. You just can't, that for whatever reason, you just can't. That team.
Now, Tampa's the other organization you can't sleep on, but they're really they're scuffling.
Yeah, but because of their division they're in, it's tougher.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a lot tougher. Yeah.
Right. So
the Yankees and Boston and Baltimore.
Yeah, in Toronto.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I wouldn't say the same thing about Milwaukee if they were in that division. But the division they're in, yeah, they just know how they can compete in that. If Tampa was in that division, that would be a different world, right? So we've talked about that before in the offseason where you move teams from certain division. That Eastern division in the American League, it's almost not fair. You fight to get into the playoffs. That's the one good thing about having an expanded playoff now is because it gives them a better chance where they didn't have any chance before.
All right. The Dodgers are still 3.5 up on the Padres. The Dodgers are going 2-8 in their last 10 games. In the last 15 games, their batting average is 184.
Well, you said it just a minute ago. So I know Freddie Freeman left would get hit by pitch, but these guys, Freddie Freeman's not young. Betts not young.
Betts is in a horrible slump.
Right.
He's gotten over that illness he had at the beginning of the year.
Right. They got some age on them.
And they moved Ohtani out of the leadoff spot because he couldn't hit.
Right. And, it's just a team they got some holes in it. They're just like I am with the Yankees. everybody wants to love the Yankees at the beginning of every season, and I'm just wait and see guy because with the age and depth, usually catches up.
If you look at the American League at the top is not as strong as the National, in my opinion. The Dodgers, they have some real competition in the Cubs, the Phillies, the Padres. San Francisco's not bad. It depends on what these teams pick up in the trades. Milwaukee, all these teams. Milwaukee just swept the Dodgers in LA. So there's a lot of good teams in the National League.
And now let me ask you this:
what? Boston, maybe.
Well, let me ask you this because I want to ask you this. When you say that, I think you're looking at it comparatively speaking of how the team does against the team in the league, because we know whatever reason the American League Central just can't compete for whatever reason. They could have just as good a team, but they get crushed by the Yankees
every time.
It doesn't matter who it is.
Every time.
And it doesn't. But then the Yankees are going to lose the next series. But so I'm sitting here asking because I feel like it's kind of dead even. I feel like the top 6 teams in each division are kind of the same.
Well, all right. If I'm going to rank the top 3 teams in the American League, it's Toronto, Boston, and the Yankees. They're all 3 in the same division. Houston can't play with those guys.
So you don't think Detroit's pitching could be in there?
Well,
they get some hitting.
They took Carpenter out of the lineup, and they can't score.
Right.
Last night, I turned on Skubal, was pitching against Texas. They're playing in Texas. Now, here's a case where, and I'll go over the wild card in just a minute. Here's a case where managers and coaches have a tendency to overmanage and overcoach.
Mm-hmm.
Hinch is one of the best managers I've ever seen. Last night, he blew it. Now, Skubal gets into the 7th inning. It's 1-0. Texas had a chance to score 2 to 3 runs in the 2nd inning, and they got 1 because 2 guys struck out with men on 2nd and 3rd. So it's 1-0. Skubal gets in trouble in the 7th inning. He gets 1 out on a strikeout. He gets another out on a pop-up or something. He's got 1 out to get. He's thrown 104 pitches. He's got another left-hander in the bullpen and a left-handed batter coming up for Texas. 1-0. He comes out and gets Skubal and takes him out of the game, brings the guy in. The first pitch is a wild pitch, and the tying run comes in from 3rd. Now, Detroit won the game in the next inning. They got a couple of hits and scored a run. But Skubal did not want to come out of that game. He wanted to try to get that last out. This is just the way I feel. If your arm's not bothering you and you feel okay, and I know you're tired because I can tell by watching you pitch, you're starting to run out of gas. But I'm going to give you a chance to win this game. You're going to stay in here and get this one guy. You're going to have one more guy. If you don't get him, you're coming out. But I'm going to give you that chance to get one more guy. But he couldn't do that because the pitching coach had already come to the mound. So his was the second trip to the mound in the inning, so the pitcher's automatically replaced. But there was a case where if I'd have been managing the time, because I'm going, please don't take him out, because I am an old man. I've seen 9 million baseball games. I've seen this. You take out the guy, the starter, you bring in the next guy, and something happens, and boom. You wind up either losing or you're tied anyway. And that's exactly what happened. And I'm going, yeah, I told you so. Okay, if Skubal would have thrown a wild pitch or something, okay, fine. I go out and take him out of the game. But I gave him a chance to win the game, or at least go out with the lead. That's just me. Okay. Now, let's look at the
I was just playing devil's advocate because I do feel like top 6 teams in each division are kind of equally matched on paper.
Okay. Okay, they started playing the games on paper, folks. Okay, now let's see. All right. The wild cards. The New York Yankees are +2. They're 2 up on Seattle and Boston and Tampa. Um, they're up by 3.5 over Texas, 4 over the Angels, and 4.5 over Cleveland. Now, the O's are 8.5 back. They think they still have a shot. The White Sox and the A's, they're.
If this is the time for the Orioles to kind of look at the team and go, what do we do now to get ready for next year? How do we get some young pitching arms? How do we bolster our bullpen? This is the time to do it. You're going to have to go young because teams are going to want stuff to help them now. You're not going to be able to get somebody that's going to be great next year, but you're going to have to go.
They could have had that. They could have done that last year.
Yeah, I don't understand that team. That's the one, and I know it's because I do. That's my second favorite team, or my favorite American League team. I grew up with this team, and
What's your favorite American League team?
The Orioles.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And just, I mean that was the team. That was the first team that I even knew existed because where we lived at. Really, I mean, outside of the Braves, when I was a little kid, I thought the Richmond Braves were the guys we watched on TV. I didn't. My brain couldn't separate.
Yeah, we used to take you. You were just 3 or 4 years old. We would take you to the Richmond game.
Right. So, but anyway, yeah, that Orioles team, and there's some other teams. I feel the Mariners, like, they need to make some decisions. And I mean, we'll get to them in a minute, but I guess, or I don't know. But the Mariners and some other teams they can't get over that hump. So you got to do something. You can't just keep doing something.
I'm sorry, I skipped over the Mariners. The Mariners are 3.5 back too. So
right.
All of those teams are in the mix.
Because I feel in the American League, some of these teams need to make some moves.
This is the important thing. The O's they're 8.5 out, but they got 400 teams to pass.
Right.
And then you have the A's and the White Sox, and the White Sox are winning the last week or so. They're going
next Tuesday.
So now we talk about sellers and buyers. Well, you got most of the teams thinking that they got a shot to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's unrealistic.
But you got a lot of these teams, and the National League's the same way. The National League, the Cubs and Milwaukee are tied atop the league, so they're tied in the wild card also. The Mets are 1.5 games out. Then there's the Padres, Cincinnati, and San Francisco 2.5. St. Louis 3.5. Arizona's 4.5, and they're at 500. They're playing 500. So they're at 5.5. Then you have Atlanta, the Nats, Pittsburgh, and Colorado, who are way out of it. Miami is 7.5 out. So there's more teams in the National League: Atlanta, the Nats, Pittsburgh, Colorado, and probably Miami, who could be sellers. Where in the American League, if the Orioles don't sell, it'll probably just be the A's and the White Sox. Now, other teams might decide to sell. They might decide they don't.
I don't know. The White Sox got one guy they could probably trade, and they haven't done it yet. So I don't know. Lewis Robert.
The A's got some guys.
The A's but I don't think they're going to be traded. I don't think they're going to be traded.
The general manager and the owner said they're not going to trade that closer.
Well, they don't want to trade other players either because they're trying to build a winner there, and they can't do it in one season.
Well, they may trade the pitcher they signed for $1 million, but $12 billion.
Luis Severino.
Severino, yeah, they're thinking of trading him.
Yeah, I could see him being a Met again, but I'm talking about like their outfielders. They're young talent. They're not going to trade them because that's the core of their team. That they know we got to keep these guys. That catcher. That they got for the Braves, huh?
Yeah,
Lavernier
pitching. They got a pretty good team in the field. They need pitching,
right? I mean, they got one of the best DHs in baseball, and Rooker, and I mean, they got that center fielder. I mean, he might go down the best defensive center fielder ever.
Oh, and the other thing I heard the other night, Tampa, when I was watching the game, they have had 52 home games in that ballpark, the Yankees training facility. They've sold out 47 games.
My friend went to a game the other night, was showing us pictures, and I'm just like, and it is still relatively cheap to go. That should be the blueprint for future baseball in the league. Stop with the 40,000 seat stadiums, these concrete behemoth buildings. Who cares about the glass and if it opens and closes windows and aquariums? That is a ballpark. That is a baseball field. Nobody cares except for what happens on the dirt and the grass. What the other crap that's in the stands is nice, but people come to watch the stuff that's on the field. If you have some good food and cold beer, that's all that matters. Sorry, there's my another rant for you, people.
I agree. That I mean, 12,000 seat stadium's a little bit small for major.
No, you don't need that small. I'm just talking about as a blueprint.
25, 28, 30 tops. You sell it out every night, because if you have a 30,000 seat stadium, you can have the seats are better. You can arrange them better than these 65,000 seats where you got to set up. I was in Yankee Stadium in the nosebleed section. I mean, I was watching the planes fly right in front of me to land at LaGuardia.
Well, so Tampa covers up the top section. They can't get but 19 or 9,000 to a playoff. So what's the use of them having a huge stadium? There's absolutely no reason. But they've proven at 19,000 that's viable for them.
Yep.
And that's, and there are a lot. Their crowds are into the game.
And the A's are doing well too.
Yes. And that's a beautiful ballpark. That is a beautiful place to play ball games. That is take me out to the ballpark type of game. That is not take me to the concrete jungle. Oh, there's a slip and slide for my kid to go play on in the center field. Who cares? Put a good team on the field, good food, cold beers.
Those little jungle gyms and things like that have a place, like at the Chili Peppers game here in Colonial Heights, where they have the children's playground and all that, where everybody it's a family thing.
Yeah, that's like a cookout with a baseball game going on.
A baseball game going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And they're doing very well too.
Well, they got two, that second, they got that other team that plays the glow in the dark that call themselves the Chili Peppers, and they're probably making more money than the regular team. So it's almost like the Bananas, what they're doing.
Well, a friend of mine has season tickets at church, and she told me their family goes all the time, and she said that the one night they had people everywhere. They sold 2,000 tickets. They had people standing everywhere.
Where 2,000? The place only seats 400.
I haven't been there. They put some stands.
I know that they put stands down the third base line.
Yeah.
Down the first base line.
The playground's behind that with the kids.
Yeah. Then the first base is where they got like group seating where you can rent it out and have like parties and stuff. That's what a lot of my friends do when they go. And it's just a good time. And they got that huge concession stand that hasn't changed since I've been a little kid. And they got the same flat tops. Huh?
I digress, but that's local baseball and it's very popular.
Yes, that wooden bat. And I mean, they've gotten guys drafted out of that league. So it is a viable league. They got good baseball, and people want to play for the Tri-City team. So that's what it's about. And the league, from my understanding, is good from top to bottom when it comes to not everybody's fortunate to have a stadium like we have, but everybody, I think they try to put on good shows and everything at the other fields as well. So, but anyway, Major League kick off to the second part of the season. Another, good weekend of baseball. It's going to be a dogfight down to the end, which we love. I mean, I was scared with adding more playoff teams that kind of take away from somehow, but it's made it fun. And now we're going to be talking about who's buying, who's selling. I think it's pretty clear what teams should do, but there's only but so many places in the playoffs. And like I said, it's all about making the playoffs. Who cares about winning a division? So let me tell this quick story before we leave. I got, and then you can give me your Yogi-ism if you got one. I made a friend. I had an Expos hat on where I was at this weekend. Guy comes up to me and goes, "Oh, I haven't seen an Expo hat in years." I said, "Yeah, my favorite player played for him." "Oh, who's that?" I said, "Gary Carter." He goes, "Oh, I thought you were going to say like Alou or something." I was like, "No, I'm older than that." And he started telling me about the Braves, where I was at, heavy Braves fans, talking about their run. And I was like, and then he said Minnesota game, the 9-inning spectacular, between Smoltz and Morris. And I was like, yes, that game and that whole series showed the Braves' ineptitude through the whole reign that they had. You don't get anything for winning a division except a cute little pennant hanging in the outfield. You want the World Series.
They could have won the game, but the guy got juked at second base.
And I was like, that right there put it in a nutshell. That one night and that series, that whole reign, and he just turned around and walked away from me. Because I was just like, I told you I was a Mets fan. You couldn't be a bigger Brave fan than me. Right.
With the Richmond Braves going to their games and stuff like that, and seeing the players come through there and winding up in Atlanta, going down to Atlanta a couple of times, watching them play, and then they win one World Series in 10 years when they should have won 3 or 4.
14 and 14, and then Bobby Cox is praised as one of the best managers. Come on, please give me.
Well, I can give you example. I can give you.
I know, but that's because of that is. I could talk to somebody else about because I'm like, great, they won the regular season division. And that was in a time when everybody didn't make the playoffs. So I give you a little golf clap, but that's
well, your grandfather said it best. He said, "Son, those guys can't hit the good pitching when they get to the playoffs."
Yep.
He said they can beat the bad teams during the season.
Or the lower pitchers.
And win their division, and they got enough pitching to win their division. But when they get into the World Series and that, they've got to hit good pitching every day, and they can't do it.
Yeah, the 1s and 2s and 3s on the best team, not the worst teams.
And I mean, let's face it, the year they won, they beat Cleveland. And they won the final game that they won. I think it was the 5th game or 6th game. I think they won 4-2. And Justice hit the home run, and they won 1-0. And Smoltz pitched that game, I think. But anyway, that was the only World Series they won. They should have won. They should have won more than that. And my Yogi-ism this week. Doris Day and Cary Grant made a picture in 1961 or 62 called "That Touch of Mink" in New York, and the Yankees were involved. It was involved in the movie. So there, it's Yogi, Mickey Mantle, and Roger Maris. And they all have one line during this scene. Yogi messed his line up, and they had to do a retake. And they asked Yogi about it later, and he said, "I was so embarrassed, I was red as a sheet." Instead of saying as red as a beet, he said, "I was red as a sheet." And the guy said, "Red as a what?" And Yogi said, "Red as a sheet."
All right. Well, we're going to leave off with that one. Again, thank y'all for tuning in. Baseball this is an exciting time. The guys that watch for the playoffs, watch a little earlier because it's exciting. This is when the games start getting exciting. If you're just in it for the playoffs, I know a lot of people are, and I try to understand. But I love baseball, and not everybody loves the game like me and my pop do. So. I watch it. I watch all the time. But loving this time of year. So please like, share, tell a friend, subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, see ya.